guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Notes of a Curious Mind. My name is Topher, and my mind is the curious one. And, hopefully people who find this podcast are also the curious ones. Right, this is basically just a podcast where I air out my ADHD thoughts. I have so many questions about humanity and existence and life and all of those things. And I'm constantly just asking them, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to do a podcast where I just ask all of the questions. I don't even need to solve any problems. Do you know what I mean? I'm happy to not have the exact answers, just like asking the questions. Okay, so I did a poll on my YouTube community tab. If you're not over on my YouTube, please come and follow me, the World of Filara. Subscribe to the channel, and so you can take part in these kinds of things. I asked what was the next topic you guys wanted to cover, and the answer was advertising. Does advertising still work? Because I have this question all of the time. It never really works. Obviously, advertising does work on me. It works on everyone in different ways and stuff. But the most blatant, obvious, normal, everyday forms of advertising, I've always wondered since I was a kid. Like, how does that work on someone? Can someone not see through the blatant lies of this is not going to solve all of your problems or whatever? Or is that just me? I don't know. Maybe it's not just me, But now, as I've gotten older, I'm like 32 now, and obviously advertising has changed so much from when I was growing up in the 90s and the 2000s and stuff, in the early 2000s. We're now in 2025. Advertising is so different. We have social media and the internet now, which is, obviously where most of the advertising is kind of going to be done, or at least it's increasingly heading that way, right? We now have advertising in the form of content, in the form of influencers and stuff like that. So it works very, very differently now. And I'm still asking the question, sorry, does this work? I'm not even just talking about products, it's things like self-help courses and, for want of a better phrase, get rich quick schemes. There was one I saw the other day that was get paid to listen to music. And I'm like, oh no, someone actually, because even if it was get paid to listen to music, right, it's going to be like pence or cents or whatever your denomination is around the globe, right? It's just going to be measly amounts and stuff. And even if you were to put in all that work and that effort, you're not really going to get too much out of it. But when somebody comes and says to me, oh, here is a way of making money by just listening to people's music or whatever, my immediate thought is, how much is it going to cost? Immediately I'm like, how much is this going to cost? Because obviously you're going to ask me to pay you for something, right? There's no, it's just, there are free things in this life, but they don't come from advertising. They don't come from companies, really, or corporations. They don't really come from businesses. Free stuff comes from your friends, not even from your family always, for some of us, not even from your family, but your true friends, your pets. Your pets will give you stuff for free, like dead birds, and a torn up sofa or whatever if you got a dog. That things are the only thing that is unconditional, as in free, as far as I'm concerned, really, is love, right? You can't have unconditional time because we're human. We've got a certain amount of time, and yes, hopefully we all have a long amount of time, which means we don't necessarily have to race as much as we think we do. But it's not we don't have limitless time. It's not unconditional. Happiness is not unconditional. It literally is an emotion that requires a certain circumstance and condition in order to be elicited, whether that is a quality of life overall or just one specific situation, or maybe just watching a movie and laughing at something, right? Romance is definitely conditional. It's probably one of the most conditional ones, right? And of course, advertising is kind of conditional. It's not unconditional. It requires a give and a take. The advert is determined to have done well if it gets people to invest or buy or go to or sign up or whatever it is, right? It's conditional on how well it performs. And my question is really, how well do these things perform anymore? Right? And we're going to go over some different kinds of advertising here, because I think that's what the answer really is here, is advertising does work, but it doesn't work in the same way anymore. It's a different kind of advertising that works. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do here, let me go to my YouTube channel. I'm on my YouTube channel. If you're not listening to this on YouTube, this is on YouTube. You guys have got audio today, by the way, I forgot to say, because I'm still at my mum's, so I don't have my recording set up, I don't have my green screen, I don't have all of the thing. But I will be putting stuff up on the screen for those of you who are watching on YouTube. For those of you who are not, don't worry, you're going to get the audio, and I will be talking about it and stuff anyway. So one of my favorite things to do, and I have a couple of these videos on my YouTube channel. Where's my videos channel? There we go. Is local advertising, as it like local independent advertising, specifically local independent American advertising. The local commercials are the coolest thing. Some of these people are just really sweet. Like they have the best of hearts. All they're doing is just trying to get their business out there into the world, but they only have like, $500 or $1,000 or something like that. The best ones, of course, are back from the 80s and the 90s. Like and the 2000s, early 2000s. It's the gem, the time when everybody had started getting at home recorders. What they call camcorders, like a VHS, where you were able to record things on VHS. And in the 80s, that became accessible to everyone. So I think the 80s was really the start of people sort of having what I call early YouTube, where they were not necessarily able to share them online, but everyone was making videos. Everyone was making videos teaching about how to do something. Everyone was making their own movies. Everyone was making their own teaching courses, things, buy this and I'll teach you how to. I am a huge fan of Red Letter Media, you guys. Red Letter Media are just this they're a bunch of old nerds who just review hilarious old movies and stuff. And one of the things that they do is watch these home videos, things that people made from home. They printed off or made 100 of these VHSs, 100 of these videos, and then just sold them at markets or at state fairs or at church or something like that. And it's like everyone had it, everyone was just doing it, and they were all awful, but they were all brilliant. Some of them are so genuine and authentic, and it's just someone trying to share something that they love and maybe make a bit of money off it. And I'm like, that's freaking early YouTube and social media, okay? So I'm going to go to one of my episodes here. This is my favorite kind of advertising. I did want to start with this just because it's not so much about whether or not this advertising works. It's just that this is the kind of advertising that I enjoy. I personally feel like sometimes, people making their own adverts from home, and the fact that everyone has social media and they can do their own sort of advertising, let's say, either for their business or if they're an influencer doing it for someone else, and I'm just like, you have such an opportunity to be so authentic and so real and likable and relatable when you're doing it independently for yourself. I don't know if you guys remember, I will try and find it on here. Back in 2020, we had COVID. Obviously, we had COVID back in COVID lockdown times in the UK. I think it was ITV. I'm not sure if it was other TV channels that were doing it, but I know for a fact that ITV was letting people at home record adverts. And what they were doing is they were recording adverts to the audio of adverts that already existed. So, for example, there was a Honda or a Hyundai advert or something, car advert. And there was this family at home that had just recorded their version of it with the same audio, that their version of it with I think it was a bunch of dominoes or something, or a paper airplane or something like that. And it was brilliant. It was just the sweetest, coolest thing. And I was just like, I'm still not going to buy a Hyundai or a Honda or whatever. I'm like, that's probably the kind of advertising that's really going to work for people. Do you know what I mean? Because it makes you feel slightly more connected. It makes you feel less like you're sitting watching something that 20 people sat down and designed in that sort of corporate sense. It just feels so much more authentic. I will try and find that in a minute. I just want to find one of these local American commercials. Yeah, all right, you guys, I think I found it. This is the one I want to show you. This is exactly what I mean. This is exactly what I mean, and this is exactly the kind of advert that I want to see. And I want to see corporations doing adverts like this, okay? Okay, so for those of you who aren't watching, you can head over to the YouTube if you want to. That's absolutely fine. But don't worry, you're still going to hear it. This is one that you just need to hear. I promise you. This is just your typical average white round American man standing outside of a store. Okay, that is all that is going on here. But I love him. Okay, let's go.
Howdy, y'all. This here's Mike. Down at Mike's Golf Shop, where we buy golf. That's right. We buy golf clubs. Mike's Golf Shop. Come on over here. We buy golf clubs.
Yeah.
Over at Mike's Golf
We buy
Shop.
golf clubs.
Come on down here. We buy golf clubs.
Clubs.
That's right.
We buy golf clubs.
We buy golf clubs. We buy golf clubs.
I'm gonna
We
die.
buy golf clubs.
I forgot he did that.
We buy golf clubs.
I genuinely forgot that he ends it by yelling, "We buy golf clubs." Don't you want to go to Mike's golf clubs? I mean, Mike's golf. I want to go to Mike's golf so bad. I need to meet that man. I need him to yell at me about golf clubs. I don't even like golf. Actually, I played mini golf. I don't care for golf. But man, I will go there for 2 hours and I will listen to him talk about golf. And you know what? I will probably come away wanting to play golf and buying a couple of golf clubs. Oh wait, no, he buys golf clubs. I love it so much. That is my kind of ad, okay? All he's doing is just giving you the information. Here is me, who has the business. This is mine. And I'm just saying to you, this is what I do. Well, I'm yelling at you in a camera. He looks like an uncle. You know when you call your uncle, your dad, your granddad, and they just hold the phone way too close to their face. Oh my God, I'm crying. I love you, Mike. I absolutely look at this. Look how many happy hormones and this emotional reaction it has elicited from me just watching that little 30-second or whatever ad, right? Okay. Let me see if I can find the ITV lockdown ads. Nah, it's just giving me a whole bunch of people remake adverts. Ew, McDonald's, why are you AI generating? Oh, that makes me feel a bit sick. No. I don't think I can find it, you guys. Don't even start with the Coca-Cola AI. Oh my gosh. When the polar bear comes out, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't drink Coca-Cola anyway, but oh my God, the irony of the Real Magic tagline at the end of a fake commercial. That's the top comment. I mean, all the commercials are fake if you're like, if we're thinking about it. But yeah, I mean, you guys want to hear my cat snoring? Hold on. You're welcome. Anyway, I can't find the ITV one. That was a tangent there with the whole AI thing. I guess it's a good time maybe to talk about it for a second. I personally disagree with the use of AI for these purposes. I don't feel like AI is something that we need to shy away from. There was once upon a time when we were afraid of, using paracetamol and stuff, and the TV and radio and trains and civilization always gets to this point where something new comes along that is of course going to drastically change the face of that civilization, the way that society works. I totally agree with that, and it's scary, it's terrifying, but it's going to happen. Well, that's it. So I'm not saying don't be scared about it. I'm just saying, be brave. We're going to be scared and we're going to do it anyway. And that this is where AI is going to get a little bit out of hand. It's at first everyone's going to be throwing it everywhere. There isn't too much regulation, as far as I know, around it right now because it's just so new and it changes so fast because it adapts on its own, obviously, far quicker than the rate of a normal human being. It can change before the rest of us have even known about it, like just the general public and stuff. So, it's going to be a whirlwind. But I don't agree with it for the uses of this. Somebody made a really good point down here in the comments where they've said, this is probably the worst choice Coca-Cola could have made. A multi-billion-dollar company deciding not to pay a couple of animators and instead use something that anyone with a monthly subscription can use. And actually to the detriment of them, because this AI is crap. AI can't make videos right now. It's crap at making videos. You can see it straight away. One thing I did want to talk about is how advertising has changed what it needs to do. Right, I want to go back to 70s, 80s. Well, 80s is kind of where it changed, to be honest with you. So I want to go back before the 80s.
Hear that? Well,
Oh,
there's
he's
an easy
oiling the
solution.
door. The door's squeaking and he's just oiling the door. This first advert is already exactly what I wanted to demonstrate. Oh, and hey presto.
There. When two pieces of metal rub together,
You need lubrication to keep the parts operating smoothly, quietly, and to prevent unnecessary wear. So let's look at your car from underneath.
Brilliant.
All these spots need regular lubrication to eliminate squeaks, save wear, and avoid costly replacements.
I'm going to stop him exactly right there. This ad is perfect. It is exactly what I want. I'm sure there are others that are going to be even more, but to be the first ad that I came to is perfect. Do you see what he's talking about here? He's talking about the longevity of the car. He's talking about preventing wear and tear. He's talking about keeping it running smoothly. All of these things. Do you notice there aren't really too many ads around like that anymore? Most of the ads, there are some ads for, like, we have them here in England. We might have one for our local garages or something like that. You know, like getting your tires changed, or, oh, you've got a crack in the window. Come on in, we can get it. Auto glass repair, auto glass replace. Oh, that's the wrong way around. I think it's replace and then repair. Whichever way, that's what the jingle for us, right? Here in the UK for some of us. And it's just things like that. He's talking about, you can't see this if you're on, if you're listening on Spotify or anything like that, but he's showing right now the underside of a car, just a little line sketch of the underside of the car with a bunch of arrows pointing to all of these different places that I'm assuming that's where you need to be putting this lubricant in order to increase the longevity of your car, to prevent squeaks and to prevent wear and tear. And what did he say? To prevent costly replacements. Oh, that's so perfect. Everything he's talking about is about extending the life of that car. Now, what are 90% of car adverts trying to do today? Get you to want a new car. This is the perfect ad. Back then, things were about lasting a lifetime. This car is going to last you and your family forever. This house is going to last you and your family forever. Here is something that you will be able to invest in. This cooker, eventually this microwave, television, all of these things, they were not necessarily designed to last forever. I'm not going to go that far, but they were advertised to you as designed to last the foreseeable future. There were things like 10-year warranties on stuff. My grandpa used to love 10-year warranties on things, and I was talking 10-year warranties on things like Hoovers and 10-year warranties on things like, toasters and all of that kind of stuff. And that used to exist even when I was growing up. Now things are like 2-year warranties max. And all of the ads are designed to make you want something. They're not designed anymore to say to you, here is something that you can invest in and it will serve you for a long time coming. It's here is the next and here is the next. You want this, right? You want this. At some point, in the 80s, advertising switched from being, here is something that you need that will improve your life, to here is something that you want. And then if you have it, it will improve your status in some way, right? Especially when it comes to things like cars or whatever. And that switch was crucial. That switch was crucial. This was the perfect ad. He is not trying to sell you a new car. He is trying to sell you something to make the car that you've got last as long as possible and go as far as possible. Can you imagine them trying to sell us something like that now in a regular car ad? That's not how it works. That's not how it works. They used to do it with phones, mobile phones, right? This phone is going to last you forever. It's a Nokia. You could throw it into a tornado on top of a volcano in the eye of a hurricane and it wouldn't even break. You could just call 999 while you're in there. It'll pull you out of the wreckage. That's how strong the Nokia is, right? The Nokia 3210 and all those ones. It was designed to, now look at how it works now. There is a new phone every single year. Sometimes twice in a year. How are they getting away with that? They're getting away with it because they're making people want it. They don't care if you need the phone anymore. They're making you want it by giving you the exact same phone and slightly improving one feature or adding one feature here or there or whatever. But you want this feature, right? You want this. You don't need it. Obviously, you don't need it. You've been literally getting by your entire life without it. But if you don't have it, everyone else is going to have it and you're not, right? So obviously you want it, right? Please buy the phone. Please buy the phone. And sometimes they're really good at it. Like, for example, the new Google Pixel ads that are, I think it's hashtag best phones forever, as in like best friends forever. And the idea is that it's a series of ads where the Google Pixel, speaking in the Google voice, and the iPhone with the Siri voice, they're best friends. They talk to each other, they hang out together, they look at the stars and they go fishing. And it's actually a really adorably cute advertising series. And I'm like, that's the kind of adverts that we want. But dang it, why does it have to be for a phone company? Like, you can't be out here with the Google Pixel 8 and then 9 and then 10 and the iPhone X and 11 and XX 56 and 20 and 25 plus. You can't do that I mean, you can and you clearly are. You can and you clearly are. And until we change our consumer habits, until we change that part of us that feels the need to have it, until we stop giving into them making us feel like we have to have it, it's just going to carry on. It's just going to carry on. And people suffer because of it, because those phones do take a lot to create. They take resources, they take labor, they take manpower. And I'm not going to get political in this moment, but let's not pretend that we don't know how that happens and where that comes from, who is putting in that labor and that effort, and equally who is benefiting from it. So yeah, I mean, I love the Google Pixel iPhone ads, the best phones forever. That's like a really cute deal. You should go check that out on YouTube. It's really cute, but it's very conflicting because I'm like, well, I'm enjoying watching the advert, but I mean, I have a Google Pixel. I have the Pixel 7. I have the Pixel 7. I needed to upgrade the old phone that I've got because I am a content creator now. So I thought, okay, I need to be able to upgrade my phone. And I want to be able to do it in a way that's going to improve my life. It's going to improve my content creation abilities. So in terms of hardware, like camera and things like that, but also I have to use, well, I don't have to, but I use the Google Suite. I've used the Google Suite for as long as I can remember. I used it when I was at music college as well. So it's just this massive part of my life that I know how to use and stuff. And it's like, well, I have to use that or I have to use Microsoft. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I can't win. Do you know what I mean? I'm having to think about like getting rid of my Amazon subscription and stuff right now because I just don't want to be dealing with Amazon. I'm like, I don't pay for, we don't have Prime or anything like that. And if I want to order something, like, I will always go other places, to be honest with you, before I look on Amazon. And I might need to get something from there. It's not that I won't use it. You can't make me feel like I have to go on there to buy something. I will come to buy something when I freaking need it. Advertising in this is not working. Like, it just doesn't work on me like that. I don't feel bad for not having something. I don't feel bad because everybody has something better than I do. I don't feel bad for not having the latest of something. It makes me feel nothing. I'm too busy watching Red Letter Media, playing around with my 3D pen, singing my head off, stroking my cats. Oh yeah, that was going to sound really off then. I genuinely do mean my cats though, okay? I'm playing video games, I'm learning languages, I'm like discovering new recipes and recreating them at home because I just love food so much. I'm busy being excited because AGT is on and it's the 20th anniversary this year. Like, who actually has time to go and sit and just buy things for no reason? That's why. It must be because, like, things are missing in your life. There's emptiness in your life somewhere. You could have done everything. You could have done all the school, got all the things, went to uni, got all the qualifications, got the job, and be earning 6 figures a year and have everything. But if the fulfillment, the satisfaction isn't there, yeah, that kind of makes sense. And that's what advertising has created for us, is this conditioning that satisfaction can only be achieved via the consumption of a product. Yeah, I'm not saying that satisfaction doesn't come from the consumption of things, but it's just obviously in the advertising world, it's a product, and even if it's a service, then you're the product. If the company is offering a service of any kind, then the customer is the product. Do you know what I mean? Which isn't a bad thing. I'm just saying that's how it works. We don't need to not have these things in society and civilization. Business is great. It helps people. We all have something to offer, or we all have something to create, or we all just, that's how we get by and stuff. It's just obviously we've created this system where no matter what, if you are not in that top 1%, and trust me, in the top 1%, they're doing this too. It's just completely in a completely different way. But if you're not in that top 1%, then your entire life is about chasing things. But you have to be chasing something. So even when you do get everything that they say you need to get in order to be happy, fulfilled, successful, even when you get it, you still aren't fulfilled, you still aren't satisfied, because you've been conditioned to never be satisfied and fulfilled, because they need to feed off of that, so that you will keep buying, so that you will keep consuming, so that you will keep on chugging it down and filling the coffers. Advertising, it still works. Advertising does work, right? It's just advertising the way that it used to be is not going to work anymore. I think other things like perfume ads and car ads, especially, they're just becoming more and more irrelevant. And it's not that people necessarily can't even afford it. I think some people are still stupidly putting things like that on their credit cards and stuff, because they're conditioned to believe that they need it in order to be something or someone or whatever. So people are still getting it, obviously, and they're driving themselves into the ground because of it. But I do also think that people are finding alternative means and alternative measures and stuff. Younger generations are coming up with businesses and ideas and ventures that make, let's say, higher class products and services available to everyone else as well, which is great. I mean, see a need, fill a need. The necessity for that to be is creating that. So I think that's a great thing. But I just think things like perfume ads and car ads, they're so out of touch now. Nobody is sitting there and just watching a car ad of somebody, driving up the side of a cliff thing with their perfect hair and their sunglasses, and just like, oh, I'm so happy and I'm loving it, and like it's probably making people incredibly angry. I can imagine there's a lot of this is a large contributor to the mental health crisis, and the widespread depression. Let's face it, anxiety and depression that is just all over. It's just people are constantly bombarded with a completely unattainable lifestyle, which leads me perfectly onto social media, the internet, because now advertising has taken a whole different shift. Advertising is not necessarily just going to be that car ad on in the middle of your soaps or in the middle of your dramas or whatever. The perfume ads are not necessarily just going to be that lady in a ridiculous dress prancing around Paris or something and splashing in a puddle, and then everything is perfect or whatever. And it's like, I don't even know what that smells like. You didn't even tell me what the perfume smells like, right? You literally did not even tell me what. You gave me no inkling of how this is supposed. Am I supposed to just watch this perfume ad and then go, okay, if I buy that perfume, I'm going to have that life, right? Who's falling for? Like, do people actually see a specific famous person, like Miley Cyrus or whatever? Or there's that Emma Watson one and stuff, I have nothing against these girls, like, love you to death. Like, you do whatever you want, girl. Get your bag, and I love it. But, like, do people see those people and then go, well, I should have that thing then, right? Because they've got it, even though they probably don't have it. They're just advertising it, really. What they've got is money. So like, am I supposed to see Miley Cyrus and then, as a lover of Miley Cyrus, be like, okay, I have to get this thing now because Miley said so? Oh my God, there are people like that. Oh my gosh. And that is why, perfect segue, social media advertising works so much better. That's why influencers work so well. They are a gold mine, because as soon as the majority of that general public, who are just going to follow whatever that influencer says, as soon as they clock on that that influencer is using a certain thing, is buying a certain product, or is recommending a whatever, they are all over it like a rash. All over it like a rash. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I want people to get their bag. I love people innovatively finding these new ways of saying, screw you to the rat race. I'm going to find my own way of getting ahead here, you know? But obviously the level of consumption has just gotten out of hand. It's gotten out of hand. It's so much easier on social media for people to make that parasocial relationship with an influencer, to feel like they're actually friends. And do you know what? I don't think that we should discard it as actually being friends. I just think we are being introduced to, as humans and humanity, a new style of friendship. And I just think that, 10, 20 years from now, even, maybe even shorter than that, the parasocial relationships are going to be far more understood. But again, we're dealing with something new here. We're dealing with something we haven't dealt with before. So it's always going to be unpredictable, but it was going to be something. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it, you guys, right? So social media, especially TikTok and things like that, creates that ability for us to be able to generate that parasocial relationship much easier, much quicker. And then also to develop community in as part of the audience as well. You might not all be connected to the content creator, the influencer themselves, but people have genuinely made community and connection outside of social media with people that they've met as being part of the audience of that content or that influencer. I think that's brilliant. That's fantastic. But obviously, it's been made so easy now for corporations to see, okay, that is something that works. Let us capitalize on this. So eventually, what happens is people realize that it's people start getting on the bandwagon, and now we are just inundated. I don't think it's a deal anymore to be an influencer. It's like, well, if you're an influencer, that's fair enough. But there's like 100,000 people all selling the same thing. You understand that you've just become workers for these people? Do you understand that you've just literally have become part of? You're almost an employee. You remember that joke? There's this one episode of The Simpsons where they're doing something. Oh, it's where Lisa finds out that a special flower emits like a smell that suppresses anger or aggression or something like that. And so she distills it and gives it to Grandpa Simpson, to Abe. And, he's all happy. He stops being all grumpy old Grandpa Simpson all the time. And so this pharma company finds out about it and they recreate it, turn it into a pill, like turn it into a medicine, do you know what I mean? And then sell it on pharmacies and things like that. And there was this one part where they go to the factory after the pill has been made, and all of these women, there's like a plane that lands, and all of these women get off of the plane, and they're all like carbon copies of each other in these, pantsuits or something like that, or these skirt suits, and they're all pulling that tiny little, um, what's it? They're pulling that tiny little suitcase with like all of their samples in and stuff. Those are the sales reps that are going to go to the doctors and the hospitals and try and sell this pharmaceutical, right? Like this gets rid of aggression in people. Turns out that the pill actually makes people's eyes pop out of their head, which is hilarious, but because it's a cartoon, obviously. Um, and I'm just thinking, those social media influencers are like those people getting off of the plane. They're all carbon copies. They're not carbon copies of each other. They're all individuals, of course, but you're all selling the same thing. You're all out here just getting off of this plane, just funneling this stuff out to as many people as possible, thinking that you're an influencer. You're not. You're a salesperson. You've just been hired by this company and you're a freaking salesperson. And now you're feeding extra into this damaging consumer mindset that we've all got because you are displaying your life in this perfect influencer way, making people even more feel like they're shit for not having it. So now you've got it at home when you're watching the television. You've got, look at this car, look at this perfume, look at this, that, and everything else. And now when you go on social media, which is a place that you're supposed to be connecting with people, sharing your life, discovering new things, and creating community, being part of community, etc., you'll also go into that community, and the content that you're consuming is another person telling you you need to have this in order to be happy, or this is going to make your life better in some way. So it's like there's just no escape from it. There's literally no escape from it. You'd be sat at home watching your movies, your soaps, your dramas. There it is. You're listening to the radio and it's coming on in between every song. There it is. You're going on social media, meet some people, learn some stuff, watch some content, and enjoy yourself. And there it is. And so at every point, you're constantly being told by advertising that you need to have something in order to make your life better. Is it any wonder that we are in a perpetual cycle of never ever being satisfied? We're conditioned that way. Even if we got everything that we want, it's designed to make us feel like we don't. And it's eternal. It's eternal, which is why even people like the Musks of the world, there's people like Tony Stark who have literally are worth $400 billion and has loads of money, could not even spend all of that money in the rest of the life that he's got left to live. He has the ability to have everything. He now has he has a seat in the West Wing of the White House and has control of things to the point where he can force you to follow him on social media to make himself look good. He has enough money to pay people to get him to level 97 on some stupid online RPG game and then pretend like he's the one that got himself to that level 97, even though he doesn't know how to. He's got that much control. He's got that much power. He's got that much of literally everything, and he's still not satisfied. Even he is designed that way. Yeah? It's a losing game. Loving you is a losing game. Yeah. So then I'm here and I'm just like, am I like the only one who's just like, I need stuff when I need it. Like at no point does sitting down and watching an ad, even a food ad, at no point does it, I sit there and I'm just like, oh yeah, I really got to have that thing. At no point do I feel bad about myself or what I've done or who I am or what I'm going to achieve or what I have achieved. If I don't have said car, if my phone is a Google 7, is a Pixel 7 and not a Pixel 9. Yes, but you can't do this with the Pixel 7, but I don't need to. At no point do I feel like I need to have some perfume in order to live a life of whatever it is that she's freaking doing in the advert. Do you know what I mean? Same with influencers. At no point am I sitting there looking at an influencer and going, I really want to be you, so I'm going to get all of the things that you tell me to, even though you don't use these things really yourself, you're just getting paid for it, and then hopefully I can become you, right? Okay, let me drink some wine and go shop on Amazon. So, in short, yes, advertising does still work. It does still work, but it works in a totally different way. Once upon a time, it was trying to give you something that would last you a long time. The point of advertising and the selling point, they got business by letting you know that this washing machine was going to last you for their entirety. This car was going to see you and your family through the next 10, 20 years. It was designed for that. And then the shift happened. And all of a sudden it was saying, no, you need to have it now. You need to have it now in order to be good, to be cool, to be status, to have status. Yeah? Yeah? This is a flash. See this flashy new gadget? Look, it does all of these things. You want to show off to your friends that you can do all of these things. And then you're just going to make your friends want it too, right? And then they're going to come and buy it too, right? And then there was the discovering of the internet and social media, which put advertising in the hands of people who were at home. And corporations went, hold on a minute. Do you mean we don't actually have to even hire these people? They're just going to talk about our stuff in videos and we can pay them like 50p and then, or give them free products. That's what it is. Do you mean to tell me I do not have to pay this person as an actual like staff member? I could just give them free product, which costs about $2 to make. And then they're going to go out and get me 100,000, 10,000, 10 to 100,000 customers. Are you telling me that's, I mean, they're laughing. They're laughing at us. They're laughing at the influencers, cackling their little monopoly pockets off all the way to the bank. Nobody can say the system's broken. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. Don't for a second think that if you're not in America, it doesn't affect you. All right? Now, this time, this era, this period is going to be different because of the internet, because of social media, because of our ability to communicate openly and freely with each other, more so. We can't do it 100%, but more so than we ever have been before. So it's going to be different. This is going to be digital. This is digital revolution. All right? Get involved. Get on board. Me personally, I'm so game. Hey, look, this is one of my weapons, you guys. This podcast is literally one of my weapons of revolution. I just am trying to encourage critical thinking here. Yeah, okay, that happened, but why? But what does it mean? What are they trying to do with this? And does that really work? And like, we need to. Critical thought is what's going to be our best weapon. We're starting to realize it was never left versus right. It was never black versus white. It was always up versus down, or higher versus lower in terms of, it's a class war. It's always been a class war. It was never anything other than a class war for the last thousands of years all across this planet. Okay, so before I go, I'm just going to end off with one more cool ad because I need to like cleanse my palate after this. Let's go back to the history and I'm just going to watch a nice American commercial, local American commercial that makes me feel good. Which one's one of my favorites? Shall we watch Norman? I think you guys are going to love Norman. Don't worry, guys. It's audio for those of you who do not have the video. Who are not on YouTube. You know, there's no me today because I'm just at mum's or whatever. But for those of you who are not on YouTube, don't worry. You're still going to see you're still going to hear it.
Norman. Ooh.
Norman. Ooh. Norman.
Chrysler Jeep and Dodge. Norman Chrysler Jeep Dodge guarantees the lowest price on any new Chrysler Jeep.
Oh, I love this advert
just give
so
you the
much.
vehicle.
Norman. Ooh. Norman.
Chrysler Jeep and Dodge.
Okay, you guys, there you go. I hope that was a good palate cleanser for you. All right, I should probably do those at the end of every episode, especially just when we get a little bit heavy on stuff. Do you know what I mean? I love you so much. I'll speak to you in the next one.